Namaste everyone. Happy New Year to everyone. Uh, we will start with the formal worship for today's proceedings, but now would be a good time to check your phone, make sure it's in silent unless you are a person that's on call. Then you can have your phone on. So today is Kalpataru as well as a memorial for Swami Sridharananda. We will start with the Kalpataru side of the events. We have several people coming up to speak over the day, over the whole morning. And don't forget, the proceedings of the day ends with the prasad. Okay. So I'm sure, I'm looking around, I see all familiar faces, so I don't have to give that emergency talk on what to do if there's a fire of any kind. Basically run away from the fire, not towards it. And toilets, you all know where it is. The prasad is being served downstairs, so after the events, please proceed down below and we can have our prasad then. Okay, thank you.
Namaste everyone. Let us begin today's program with chanting of Om. Let us chant it 54 times. Let us chant from the prayers. Om. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Karam Bindu Samyuktam Nityam Dhyayanti Yoginaha Kamadam Mokshadam Chaiva Omkara Yanamo Namaha. Om Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ ह्रीं नमः शिवाय। ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमो नमः। ॐ जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोश्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। ॐ नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। ॐ नमः शिवाय शान्ताय कारणत्रयहेतवे निवेदयामि च आत्मानं त्वं गतिः परमेश्वर। ॐ श्री सीतालक्ष्मण भरतशत्रुघ्न हनुमत्समेत श्रीरामचन्द्र परब्रह्मणे नमः। ॐ आपदाम् अपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। ॐ यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम्। ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Om Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pankhum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramanandamadhavam. Om Sarvamangalamangallye Shive Sarvarthasadhike Sharanye Triambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is discord, unity. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is error, truth. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is sadness, joy. Where there is darkness, light. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha Deva, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, जय गणेश देवा। माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। एकदंत दयावंत चार भुजधारी। एकदंत दयावंत चार भुजधारी। माथे सिंधुर सोहे मूस के सवारी। माथे सिंधु सोहे मूस के सवारी। सूर शाम सफल कीजे आज की जो सेवा। सूर शाम सफल कीजे आज की जो सेवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश एवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश दे। अंधे को आँख देत कोदन को काया। अंधे को आँख देत कोदन को काया। बाजन को पुत्र देत निर्धन को माया। बाजन को पुत्र देत निर्धन को माया। फूल चढ़े दीप चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा। फूल चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। जय गणेश जय जय गणेश देवा। माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा। हंस हंस परमहंस। हंस हंस परमहंस। राम कृष्ण गुरवे नमः। राम कृष्ण गुरवे नमः। ज्योति ज्योति परम ज्योति। ज्योति ज्योति परम ज्योति। राम कृष्ण गुरवे नमः। राम कृष्ण गुरवे नमः। देव देव महादेव देव देव। राम कृष्ण गुरवे नमः। राम कृष्ण गुरवे नमः। राम राम हरे राम। राम राम हरे राम। राम कृष्ण गुरवे नमः। राम कृष्ण गुरवे नमः। कृष्ण कृष्ण Hare Krishna Krishna Rama Krishna Gurave Namah Rama Krishna Gurave Namah Hamsa Hamsa Paramahamsa Hamsa Sa Paramahamsa Rama Krishna Gurave Namah Rama Krishna Gurave Namah He Jagatrata Vishwavidhata He Jagatrata Vishwavidhata He Sukha Shanti Niketan He Sukha Shanti Niketan प्रेम के सिंधु दीन के बंधो म के सिंधु दीन के बंधो दुख दारिद्र्य विनाशन है दुख दारिद्र्य विनाशन है हे जगत्राता विश्वविधाता हे जगत हे सुख शांति निकेतन हे नित्य अखंड अनंतानादि नित्य अखंड अनंतानादि पूर्ण ब्रह्म सनातन है पूर्ण ब्रह्म सनातन है जगदाश्रय जगपति जगवंदन गदाश्रय जगपति जगवंदन अनुपम अलख निरंजन है अनुपम अलख निरंजन है हे जगत्राता विश्वविधाता जगत्राता विश्वविधाता हे सुख शांति निकेतन है प्राण सखा त्रिभुवन प्रतिपालक प्राण सखा त्रिभुवन प्रतिपालक जीवन के अवलंबन है जीवन के अवलंबन है जग आश्रय जगपति जगवंदन जगत श्रय जगपति जगवंदन अनुपम अलख निरंजन है अनुपम अलख निरंजन है हे जगत्राता विश्वविधाता हे जगत्राता विश्वविधाता हे सुख शांति निकेतन हे सुख शांति निकेतन राम कृष्ण शरणम राम कृष्ण शरणम राम कृष्ण शरणम शरण्ये जय जय रामकृष्ण शरणम् रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं शरण्ये कृपा हि केवलं शरण्ये राम कृष्ण शरणं राम कृष्ण शरणं राम कृष्ण शरणं शरणागतोऽहं 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 शरण्ये शरणागतोऽहं शरण्ये रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो नमः नमो श्री गुरवे नमो नमः रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये जय जय रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये रामकृष्ण रामकृष्ण जय जय रामकृष्ण 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 जय जय रामकृष्ण रामकृष्ण जय जय रामकृष्ण रामकृष्ण जय जय रामकृष्ण 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 जय जय रामकृष्ण 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 शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये जय जय रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये
Welcome everybody, and a very happy new year to everyone. Hope you all had a good party last night. Some of you would have seen the fireworks, so you would have been up very, very late. Well, welcome to the party Vedanta style. So that's today. That's what we're going to happen. So today is the 1st of January. The 1st of January, usually we celebrate it as Kalpataru Day. So what's Kalpataru Day? Which is basically back on January the 1st, 1886, when Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa revealed himself as an avatar and embodied divine qualities and blessings for his devotees. So the event is that he was on a veranda of his home, and in the afternoon of that day, he actually appeared and says, let everyone be illumined. So everyone who was in that presence was illumined. and that was Kalpataru Day. But Swami Sridharananda would often correct me and say, it's not the day that's important, but it's the person. The person is the Kalpataru. He was the wish-fulfilling tree. The day was just happened to be a day. So that's something that was in my mind. So it's only apt that we celebrate this Kalpataru Day together with another event that's happened very recently in the Australian circle, and it was the passing of Swami Sridharananda, who single-handedly built everything that you see around you in Australia with respect to the Vedanta Centre. So both in respect for Kalpataru Day and in memory of Swami Sridharananda, we thought we'll put together this event today morning. And we will have several speakers coming up. So to help the speakers, the first things I will ask you to do is please look at your phone, put it to silent, unless you're an emergency worker and need to run off. The other thing is, in terms of emergency and facilities, if you have never been here before, the handicap toilets are in the library on your left-hand side, and other toilets are downstairs as well. Now, in case of a fire or anything else that might happen, please run away from the fire, not towards the fire. And that's the only advice I'll give you. At the end of the proceedings today, we have prasad being served, and that will be served down below. So it is recommended that you go out the front, collect your footwear, and go downstairs. And then when you finish with the prasad, you can leave direct from our dining area. You don't have to, come back up here. So some of the very simple announcements. So we're going to have a fair number of speakers today. Most of these speakers have had some form of intimate relationship with Swami Sridharananda, and we'll have his reminiscence. But we have to take that in the context of also today being Kalpataru Day. So there is two parts to this. So to begin what we are going to do for today, I'd like to invite Uncle Maha, Dr. Sinnatambi, to say a few words to get us going. Thank you.
Friends, wonderful to be with all of you here today. It's truly a very memorable day where we can all get together and share what we all believe as the right thing of recognizing this very important event. First of all, I would like to I just asked Swami's permission, and I first came across the Ramakrishna mission when Swami Ranganathananda, who visited our house in Perth. I was just working as a public servant, and he was sent by the government to set up the mission here in Australia. He had nowhere else to stay, so we were delighted that he was going to stay with us, and we stayed with him for about 15 days. My wife did an amazing job in caring for him, and he stayed in our house. And we learned a lot about the mission because he was with us all the time. And my job was, because I was working as a public servant, I had a bit more time. I wandered around all over the town and tried to introduce Swami Ranganathananda to everybody. Those of you who know Swami Ranganathananda, he's one of the most leading Swamis of the mission. He has written many books, and he is an amazing traveler who has traveled around the world and introduced the mission's activities, and that was his job. An amazing human being. The first trip he made was to Australia, where he came to Sydney. And the second trip he made was to our house in Brisbane, in Perth. And we had very, very close discussions as to the future direction of the mission. And he said, I'd like you to play a role in this. And I said, I'll be delighted to do that. And I went around most of Perth and introduced him to all the individuals who could take an interest in the mission. And there were amazing amount of people who did. And to a point where it wasn't a courier mail, but there's a local newspaper who said, we want to interview you. But I said, no, I'm nobody here. But you can speak to the Swami and ask him what he's all about. So there was a full page article on him in the front page of Brisbane, not Brisbane, of the Perth newspaper. And that got fired, and immediately there was a lot more interest. Now this relationship was very, very close between us. My wife was really, really caring for him, and in the end of the day, he had to leave. So after about 15 days, he left, and he went back. But every year from then on, he came for 12 years and stayed with us in our house. And we were absolutely gifted that one of the most senior monks Maharaj of the Ramakrishna order, who was a great, great person who took the message to the world, came and stayed with us for about 14 days. And then he said, I'm going back to India, and I'll come back and we will continue the mission. And I stopped there. The next person who came into our life was Swami from, not Swami, Damodarananda. Damodarananda came into our life, and he came into the lives of most of you. Most of you know him because he was not far from us here, and he used to come every month and stay with us, or we stayed with some of you. And one day he said, I'm going to bring another Swami. I said, who is this? And he said, it is Swami Sridharanandaji. And you haven't heard about him, but I'll tell you, he's another remarkable Swamis of the Ramakrishna mission. And I said, we would be delighted to have him. And I think he was staying in a separate place. He didn't stay with us. There were others who offered him accommodation here, and we had a wonderful, wonderful time. And from day one, I was caught by this Swami. He was a magnet, and he just caught me, and I'm sure he caught a lot of you around. But his mission was a different mission. He wanted to build Australia. And he said, I want to make sure, I know Swami Ranganathananda has done a wonderful job. I've got the advantage of having to learn from a lot of people who know him. And he said, but we got to turn Australia around. I said, if you want to turn Australia around, I'm also trying to do that. So let's both work together. And that started the journey. And out of that came a series of thinking with Swami Sridharanandaji. Of course, he was the backbone behind it. And he looked after him very well. And he cared for him, and he also gave me some advice along the way. And the journey was on. Attack Australia. And start off at Sydney. And that Sydney journey started, and the first thing was we had to go around and look for a place to accommodate the mission. There were a number of people, Swami, as you know, who came forward from Sydney, wonderful, wonderful human beings who are very much attached to the mission. And they wanted to do something about it, which we were very fortunate. And Swami Sridharananda was the left and right hand of Swami Sridharananda, and the journey started. So he told me, well, you are in the property game, show me how to buy properties and whatever it is. I said, well, my game is quite different from yours, Maharaj. I don't have money, but I try and buy a real estate without any money. And he said, show me how that is done. So we tried and locked up a number of 3 properties we locked up in Sydney in some form or the other. Don't ask me how it was done. Three properties were locked up. And then one property, Maharaj, you may even know which one was it, became like your headquarters. Yeah, so we were very active. And I told him certain things you don't do here, but certain things you can do here. But he was determined. He said, we have to capture Australia and I want to capture Sydney. But there were wonderful, wonderful people in Sydney, Maharaj. Wonderful who came forward, wanted to be part of the journey. So it was not us, it was them who made the journey more exciting. And so Swami Sridharanandaji left, Maharaj. He left and went back to India after that. No, but I'm talking while he was in Sydney. He didn't go back to India. So his permanent address was Australia. And so that's how the journey started. And he came up to Brisbane and he talked to me quite a few things. He wanted to have a look at all the land around here and all the opportunities here. And he was a part-time developer, friend of mine. And it was actually a joy to be able to do something that he enjoyed and I enjoyed, and we were out there to get some serious results, but we didn't have much money. And but we managed to get control of the properties. Finally, I'm cutting the story short. He said, we have to have a temple here, but I said, Maharaj, you need a lot of land. And for one reason or the other, I managed to control 32 hectares of land here. And he said, and I said, I will give you 5 hectares of land, 20 hectares of land, 20 hectares of land. You can have it for nothing, for the temple to start, and that's what this place is. This place is the headquarters of the Ramakrishna mission in Queensland. And it came about without much money, but with the grace of God and Sri Ramakrishna's will to want to be here. We can do everything we want to do, but he wants to be here. If he wants to be here, he will make it happen. So we used to say to him, you make it happen, Maharaj. We haven't got any money. So, but fortunately, Springfield was approved as a city, as a new city in this country with 32 hectares of land. And this had 5 hectares of land. It has got an approval that is amazing approval, but it is still active, but we are trying to bring it into much more activity because of the fact that the EPBC came and interfered with it. But I think, like everything, we'll go over that, we'll manage to overcome that difficulties. But at the moment, Swami Sridharananda's vision was one day, because of the size of the land, we want to have something that is like in Calcutta, a center for education, Maharaj? Institute of Culture. And his thinking was very big, and he said we want to have it, and we want to have this as a center for this part of Asia, where people can come and listen and give lectures and talks and so on and so forth. He was a big thinker, and it was unlimited, and that approval is there. You can start one today if you have to. If under certain conditions you can start it today. And we also said we have to have about 55 apartments under the approval. Families can live here and be part of the mission. And that hasn't started yet because we have got a lot of other hurdles to cross. Then you can have a child care center to catch the children from the cradle. And then we had a school for 30 kids, Maharaj. Yeah. For 200 kids. We can put a school here for 200 kids. And so there are a number of things that has been got as a result of our work and being able to control the land. And I know we've got a few hurdles along the way, and we, like everything else, we will overcome the hurdles. and it is getting a little bit more easier now, as a few things have been reduced by the government. The government knows that there is a document which is that thick, which says what can be built in this place. So that is the Swami's rights. So we have our rights, and one day we will be explaining to them we have these rights. So we are not asking for anything new, we are not asking for any money, but please allow it to go. So friends, with that I will end up. You've got a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. You've got a great Swami here who is very, very committed, extremely strongly committed. He knows more people than I do. The political scene and the business scene and the family scene. He knows a lot of people, and all are willing to help. So can I finish off by saying that look out for the space. There is going to be something that's going to happen here. I'm a bit impatient, and Swami is a bit impatient. We want to make it happen. But wonderful, watch the space and see the growth of this place into one of the most unique centers that we would have in the country. Thank you very much.
You can applaud. Yeah, you can applaud. So we're going to have a whole series of speakers now. So on behalf of everyone, once and for all, I'll do an acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and acknowledge their continuing connection to land, waters, and community. We pay our respects to the people, the cultures, and the elders past, present, and emerging. And now we will have our head honcho of the Vedanta Centre community or committee in Brisbane and Queensland. Can you please invite Dr. Hashim Majumdar? Thanks.
I think Maha has said everything. Why do you call me? But anyway, I'll Namaskar Swamijis. We have 3 here. And Namaskar to all of you, as well as Happy New Year to you. I'll talk about today's day, that is Kalpataru Day, which you may have all heard about previously, but I want to repeat that because the more I say, more enthrillment I get. Before that, Sri Ramakrishna revealed his identity through specific visions, statements, and actions that demonstrated his unity with various deities and his status as an incarnation of God. Kalpataru is one of them. But there has been other incidences where his divinity was exposed. For example, the vision of identity with other divine forms. When he was practicing other religion, his vision of Christ came to his mind. It happened when he was walking in the Panchavati, and he saw the Christ appearing there, and he came and embraced him, and then the Christ blended into him. And Ramakrishna went into Samadhi, realizing the oneness with the Christ. It also happened when Swami Vivekananda was questioning his divinity. It was towards the end of his life when he was serving him in Kashipur, and Thakur was very ill. And the Vivekananda was thinking that he would only believe Sri Ramakrishna was God if he declared it when he is in such pain. Immediately, it was his thinking, but immediately Ramakrishna replied, looked at him and said, as that who was Krishna is and who was Rama is born as Ramakrishna in this body. So he showed that to him. Not only in your Vedantic sense. This excited Vivekananda and believed that he was the incarnation of God. Going back a few years ago, when Ramakrishna was as a priest in Dakshineshwar, he was pacing back and forth on the northern eastern veranda of his room in Dakshineshwar. He was in a spiritual mood, completely oblivious of his surroundings. Mathur Babu, who was the son-in-law of Rani Rashmani, who was looking after the place, he was sitting across his room in his bungalow, but was watching Ramakrishna through a window. All of a sudden, Mathur ran out of the house. He threw himself into the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, began to cry profusely. And then when he composed himself, he said, Father, he used to call him as a father. Father, I was watching you just now as you walked back and forth. I saw it distinctly. As you walked towards me, I saw Kali in you. And as you went back from me, I saw Lord Shiva. I thought it was an illusion, or I was seeing something different. But I rubbed my eyes, I looked again, but I saw the same thing again. More I saw, more I was convinced that I saw both of your incarnations. He did not reply to that. He said, I was not aware of that. So obviously he knew what he was doing, but he didn't beat his own drum. So Kalpataru Day is celebrated annually on the 1st January. Is one of the emotional and holy festival for followers of Ramakrishna and Ramakrishna mission worldwide. It commemorates a profound event in 1986, which Ramakrishna revealed his divine identity, showered unconditional grace upon his devotee. I'll talk about the importance of it. As I said before, that you know the whole story before, but I enjoy talking about this again, so bear with me. Ramakrishna was taking rest in the Kashipur garden house because he was suffering from cancer and he was quite weak. On the January 1st today, almost 139 years ago, Ramakrishna felt a bit better in the afternoon. He came down to the garden for a stroll. He always dressed very well. This time he was dressed in a colorful attire. He put on a red bordered dhoti, green and red are very favorite of his, and a shirt, a green coat, a broad red bordered chadar, and a green cap that covers his ears. He used to wear beautiful shoes as well. You'll see in the big long coat with beautiful shoes. Similarly, Vivekananda used to wear very beautiful clothes, unlike Gandhi. So his devotees helped him to come down from the upstairs to the ground floor of the garden house. He began to walk on the garden path. As it was New Year's Day, a lot of people were there, approximately 30. They were in the front garden, sitting about under the tree to have a glimpse of the divine Ramakrishna. They were talking amongst themselves about the master. When they saw the master, they all stood up reverently and bowed down. They were delighted to see master in the garden, and they followed him as he walked. Master saw two other disciples, one is Girish Ghosh and Ram Lal, and they are coming towards him. Before anyone had spoken a word, the master addressed Girish, asking, Girish, what have you seen in me that you proclaim me before everyone as an incarnation of God? Girish knelt before the master and said, with folded hands, and with a voice choked with emotion, what can an insignificant person like me say about the Master, whose glory even sages like Valmiki and Vyasa could not adequately measure? It was a big thing to say. The Master was profoundly moved by the Girish's answer. His whole face beamed with divine bliss. Seeing that wonderful form of the Master, the devotees knew no bounds. They began to shout, "Joy Sri Ramakrishna." Ramakrishna, in half ecstatic state, with a divine smile, said, "What more shall I say? Bless you all. Be illumined." The Master in this state began to touch each devotee and bless them with spiritual bliss. Sri Ramakrishna awakened the spiritual consciousness in the heart of the devotees on that day. Ramakrishna came to lead human beings from darkness to the light, from the bondage to the liberation. So he blessed the devotees by saying, "Be illumined." On this day, Master blessed fearlessness to the devotees through self-realization, fulfilled their wishes, lightened their wisdom in their hearts. What is the significance of Kalpataru? It is the divine self-realization. Ramakrishna revealed himself as God incarnate, capable of bestowing spiritual realization. He was a wish-fulfilling tree, become a symbolic Kalpataru, a divine tree, granting wishes, but specially focused on the spiritual liberation, allowing devotees to attain high spiritual state instantly. Normally it takes a whole lifetime. Profound spiritual experience, the disciples present experienced vision, divine ecstasy, and spiritual awakeness, which typically takes lifetime to achieve. It is said, I'm not sure it is, the event prepared his followers for his impending death. He died a few months later, offering them lasting spiritual strength. I'm sure the devotees knew at the time that he was going to pass. God is always Kalpataru. If we meditate daily with earnestness, then he will appear before us every day as Kalpataru and fulfill our wish. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to be inviting people to come up to speak. I won't introduce them because they are all people that you probably know quite well. I'll only introduce them by name as far as what their background is, their professions are, and how much they partied last night. I let you ask them at the end of the day when we all go down and have prasad. Okay? Once again, please don't forget we are having prasad at the end of today's events around 11 o'clock, and it will be downstairs. Now we have Dr. Brahm.
I did not party last night. Namaste, Reverend Swami Sridharanandaji, Swami Sridharanandaji, visiting from Fiji, first visit to Australia. Thank you for coming. Swami Bodhanandaji, Brahmacharis, Thakur's best friend, Mahasinatambi, as he says himself, dear devotees. Swami Sridharanandaji had a deep love for cricket, especially when India was playing. It was a joy to watch him come alive during cricket conversations. And whenever I met him with my son Kavish, cricket was almost guaranteed to come up. The two of them would happily engage in mental gymnastics, runs, wickets, match situations, endless debates about who was the best player in the world. With his awesome memory, they would compare notes and cricket memories. Swamiji followed the game with genuine curiosity and childlike excitement. Whenever we met him alone, he would always inquire about our three children, Kapisha, Kavish, and cricket. What intrigued him most even more were new developments in technology. He was particularly fascinated by virtual reality once he knew what it was. At one point, he requested my son Kavish to create a virtual reality presentation of climbing the Mount Everest. The setup was done in a garage of one of our rental properties before this ashram was built. I still remember how enormously he enjoyed the experience as the scene reached its climax, climbing the summit and planting the flag. Maharaj did something unforgettable. He knelt down on the ground and saluted. With a gentle smile, he said, "This is as real as going to Mount Everest." His wonder was genuine, his hima was simple, and his humility was profound. Swami Sridharanandaji traveled to America and Canada almost every year when he could, moving from city to city, and giving his satsang from one place to the other. His travel was intense and his schedules packed and proper meals were not always possible, he told us. Before leaving, he would smile and tell Sarojana, my wife, "Keep my Herbalife supplies ready." Someone once asked him, half surprised, "Swamiji, you take supplements?" Swamiji laughingly, softly said, "This is not indulgence, this is food on the run." Then he added with a twinkle in his eye, "The body also needs seva. If it collapses, how will the soul give lectures?" That was Swamiji, open to our modern world, yet deeply rooted in timeless wisdom. His personality was extraordinary, humble, filled with a distinctly motherly love that made everyone feel instantly at home. I remember once he came to visit us at our home. He did not give us a long discourse or philosophical lecture. He held our hands, smiled, joked gently, and shared just one message: just give love. Love will conquer everything. That single line has stayed with me ever since. I also cherish the opportunity to visit him one day with our daughter Kapisha, my wife Saroj, along with Prakash and Maya from Sydney, at the Groovy Retreat Center he was setting up in Blue Mountains in Sydney. We spent nearly 4 hours together, and Swamiji simply never stopped talking. So much was said, so much was shared. There was laughter, lunch, stories, wisdom, and effortless flow of warmth. It was one of those rare moments where time seemed to dissolve, leaving behind only joy and connection. We first met Swamiji when he visited Fiji in 1998. That time I was in Fiji. Swami Sridharanandaji brought him to our home. Time has truly flown, yet strangely the memories feel as fresh as ever. Swamiji was a rare blend of profound wisdom and disarming simplicity. Having lived for, I would say, 100 years, he carried centuries of insight. but woe it as lightly as a shoal on a warm day. In his presence, silence taught more than sermons, and yet every now and then that silence would break into a quiet laughter. Despite his towering spiritual stature, Maharaj had a wonderful motherly tenderness, gently clasping and holding your hands while he continued to converse, and had a subtle sense of humor that caught you off guard. Once when someone sexually asked him, "Maharaj, what is the secret of such a long life?" He paused, smiled and said, "I don't argue with people too much. Most of the time." The room burst into laughter and the lesson landed gently but firmly. On another occasion, a young devotee earnestly asked a complex spiritual practice question. Maharaj listened patiently and then asked. He said, "First learn to be on time. God is already punctual. No philosophy textbook could have delivered discipline so efficiently." He also had a playful way of puncturing ego. When praised for his wisdom and longevity, he would wave away saying, "If age itself gave wisdom, every tree would be a sage." That single line humbled many a proud seeker. COVID times kept us physically distanced from him, and even post-COVID circumstances continue to limit direct interactions. Yet those who worked with him on ongoing projects often joked that Maharaj was remote working from the Himalayas of consciousness, guiding everything without ever appearing on a Zoom call. What made him truly unforgettable was his humor that never diminished his depth. It softened it. His laughter always carried compassion, his jokes carried instruction, and his simplicity carried truth. Living long means little if wisdom cannot be shared. Swami Sridharanandaji ensured that even his light-hearted remarks carried seeds of insight that will continue to sprout in many hearts. Yes, Swamiji was known for a gentle, disarming humor that carried a quiet but deep lesson. Just a few collections of I would like to share with you. The missing spectacles. One morning, devotees were essentially searching the ashram because Swamiji could not find his spectacles. Everyone joined the hunt. Checked the beds, the cupboards, the prayer hall. After a long while, someone noticed Swamiji reading his newspaper calmly, sitting in a corner. "Swamiji, you are reading? How?" Swamiji tapped his forehead and said, "They were on my nose. I was searching everywhere except where they were needed." The lesson is, what we seek, peace, God and happiness, is often already with us. We search the world but forget to look within. That was one of his messages, I remember. In every talk, he always said, dive deep. God is very busy today. A devotee complained, "Swamiji, I pray every day, but God does not answer." Everybody has that thought. Swamiji replied seriously, "God is very busy today." The devotee looked startled. "Busy with what?" Swamiji said, "God is busy listening, but you are too busy talking." The lesson is, prayer is not only asking, silence is also devotion. Listen as much as you speak. Ashrama food complaint. A visitor complained about simple ashram food. "Swamiji, there is no taste." Swamiji tasted it quietly and said, "Yes, the cook forgot to add one ingredient. Which one, Swamiji? He said, hunger. Lesson is, contentment comes not from luxury, but from simplicity and gratitude. Another anecdote is, why are you in such a hurry? A young man was rushing past Swamiji, anxious and breathless. Swamiji called out, where are you running? Swamiji laughed gently. He said, I am late for meditation, Maharaj. Swamiji laughed and said, if you reach meditation in a hurry, it will run away from you. Lesson is, spiritual life cannot be rushed. Presence matters more than punctuality. I am not entitled, enlightened yet. Swamiji, someone asked, Swamiji, are you enlightened? And the reply was, if I were, you wouldn't be asking, and I won't be answering. Lesson is, true wisdom carries humility, not self-advertisement. Swamiji laughed not to entertain, but to awaken. To remember him is to smile, reflect, and straighten one's spine a little, because somewhere Maharaj is probably watching and saying, sit properly first, enlightenment can wait. Swamiji, you are not only missed, but deeply and fondly remembered. Thank you for your love, the laughter, the wisdom, and the gentle reminders of what truly matters. Thank you.
I see a lot of people hesitating to applaud. Please feel free to applaud, to laugh, to be part of a Happy New Year. Next, we will have Jayashree.
Om Sri Ramakrishna Namaha. Pranams to Swamiji's. Namaste and Happy New Year to all on Kalpataru Day. Truly an appropriate day, 1st of January, to make spiritual resolutions and receive blessings from Guru Maharaj to help achieve them. Today, we also offer our deepest respects to Swami Sridharanandaji. We cherish the guidance and words of wisdom he imparted to us all on 1st January 1886. Sri Ramakrishna, like a wish-fulfilling tree, granted spiritual awakening to the devotees present. For our progress in spiritual journey, satsang and Guru Kripa are absolute essentials. And those devotees, around 140 years ago, were very fortunate to have both of them. Sri Ramakrishna called out and longingly waited for pure and guileless souls. Not just anybody, you have to be pure and guileless. Virtues are a prerequisites, and those who lacked good qualities, he would advise spiritual aspirants to maintain distance from them. For sincere seekers, these qualities are a must. And then finally, to be blessed on Kalpataru Day is truly fulfilling the purpose of human birth. We are indeed blessed to be here on Kalpataru Day to receive his blessings. Only condition is that we ought to be pure and virtuous. But what if we are not? Then what do we do? Often Swami Sridharanandaji would say, what we need is an attitudinal correction. You all must have heard that many times, but it's worth considering. Once we work on correcting ourselves, then the next frequently uttered words of Swami Sridharanandaji, man-making and character building. He always said that. And if we correct our attitude, naturally, what we become? We build our character. That is to say, we evolve from basic human existence to more virtuous character. Swami Sridharanandaji guided spiritual seekers as per the need of each individual. Also, he conducted various group classes and lectures. The deep knowledge of Vedanta he presented in normal day-to-day, simple, straightforward way. So, we ordinary people could comprehend. Our pranams at the feet of Swami Sridharanandaji. The Aarti we sing reassures us that Guru Maharaj is ever present to bless us. And I quote, Nishkarana Bhakata Sharana. He is ever present to bless those devotees who seek. The condition is we ought to seek. And the question is, we have to ask our own selves. Today is a very good day to ask. Are we genuine? Do we seriously want to correct our attitude? Do we want to develop virtues? It's worth thinking, especially on 1st of January, Kalpataru Day. We offer our pranams at the lotus feet of Sri Ramakrishna and seek his blessings. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
I'll call upon Menaka to come and say a few words.
Namaskaram and Happy New Year to all of you. For those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Menaka. And when Uni Uncle asked me to say a few words about Swamiji, Swami Sridharanandaji, I admit I initially felt a few seconds of feeling honoured, and then it was very quickly replaced by a feeling of being overwhelmed and daunted. And the reason being, I found myself worrying. How does one encapsulate the essence of a man as great as Swamiji in only a few minutes? Another thought that closely followed is, how can I dare to speak about Swamiji in the company of many here who undoubtedly, have had a very intimate connection and knowledge of Swamiji himself. But what I will humbly share with you today are a few insights of mine based on my memories of my time with Swamiji, which are infused with stored impressions of how I felt in his presence, and subsequently what I learned from his example. So I share this with the hope that on this day, Kalpataru Day, the start of a new year, that it may inspire all of us to imbibe the spirit in which Swamiji intentionally lived his own life. So I received initiation from Swamiji over 8 years ago, and I remember the memory that I have is sitting by myself in what seemed then like a very vast and cavernous hall, prayer hall in Sydney. And it was one of my first times in the Sydney ashram. And I was waiting for Swamiji to arrive by myself, excited, nervous, unsure of what to expect. My main interactions prior to Swamiji had been witnessing him from afar. So as he addressed large groups of devotees and spiritual seekers, Swamiji to me seemed way too important and significant for a mere commoner like me. Yet here I was, with his blessing, of course. However, once Swamiji arrived and the session started, I was immediately put at ease. As many of you know, Swamiji exuded nothing but grace, humility, love, kindness, warmth, and compassion. There were no airs, no orthodox rigidity, or no obvious power dynamics. He instantly commanded my respect and attention, not with authority, but rather by the expansiveness of his heart and the generosity of his presence. I felt like I was spending time with a much loved and revered grandfather rather than with a Swamiji of his stature. And that might seem like a flippant comment to make, but really what I'm trying to say is that I felt safe and comfortable to be me. Anyone else who has had the blessing to sit with him, face to face, to hold his hand, to look into his smiling compassion of his mischievous eyes, will agree with me, I'm sure, that his presence taught us to always be with others with grace, kindness, humour, humility, and warmth, and to treat everyone like this, regardless of age, social status, and gender. At least this is something that I feel he taught me just through his presence. Another thing that I carry with me from my time with Swamiji is his expansive generosity of spirit. Whenever I was fortunate enough to spend time with him, he gave his time so generously. I'm sure he had a myriad of commitments, time pressures, appointments, and competing demands and stresses, but in his presence, he never showed any sign of preoccupation. He was present, generous in his words of wisdom, and invested in the task at hand. A big part of Swamiji's message, as most of you would already know, was to serve the divine by serving others. This is probably why, be it in conversation with a devotee or addressing large groups of spiritual seekers, Swamiji always dedicated his attention, his effort, his energy, and his conviction to that very moment. He was forever in service to the divine, which made his presence and his message so impactful, profound, nurturing, and many you would agree, even healing. The final impression of Swamiji that I'd like to share with you and that I will forever be left with, and to be honest, will hopelessly struggle to imbibe due to the limitations of my own mind, is his utmost conviction, devotion, and belief in God, in the divine. In one of my last longer conversations with Swamiji, he shared with me this wisdom. Prayers, when honestly and sincerely performed, removes all anxieties as you feel that you are in the lap of the Divine Mother. Even if you are full of joy, thank her. Even if you are depressed, pray hard. If you are hurt from others' words or actions, see it as her test, and that will ultimately bring you closer to her. What can make me anxious? My mother is taking care of me. Whatever happens around me is my mother's bidding. This is the panacea for all insecurities, apprehensions, and anxieties. I am with my mother, come what may. I am with my mother. In the Song of Life, this is the main tune of spiritual life. O Mother, I know you are in me. I know I am with you. Protect me. Take care of me. So with those words, Swamiji's own words, I wish you all a 2026 that is inspired by Swamiji's grace, humor, humility, love, and compassion. And I hope your 2026 gives you much fulfillment that comes with service, serving the divine by serving others. And as Swamiji himself prayed for and deeply wished, may all be touched deeply by the love of the divine, and may it guide us through the journey ahead, come what may. Thank you.
We will now hear from Atul. Thanks.
Pranams. I am going to be quite emotional. I'm sorry about that. I've tried my best not to be. Forgive me. There are so many aspects of Swamiji that have already been covered, so I won't touch upon those. I truly resonate with everything that Ramji, Jayashree Menaka talked about. I won't repeat those. I'll give you something, hopefully, that helps, especially those who are initiated by Swamiji. The biggest lesson I took away from Swamiji, just observing him, there's a verse in Gita, in the 9th chapter. It goes, Yat karoshi yadashnasi yad juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpan. In very simple terms, whatever you do, whatever you offer in yajna, whatever dhan you do, whatever donations you give, whatever you eat, everything, every action, offer it ultimately unto me. If there's one thing you would have all observed if you ever watched Swamiji in his public talk, you would walk up from there, usually from the right, stand in front of the altar, and if you just watched him fold his hands, and just that samarpanam, that complete surrender to the Holy Trinity, I wish I can do a particle of that. That is Yat Karoshi Yadashnasi in a living form for me. The other lesson that he gave to all of us, and he would have said this to you, especially if you are initiated, many times. Think of Mother, Guru Maharaj Swamiji, think of the Holy Trinity. Maintain that divine presence within you all the time. When you're meditating, when you're not meditating, I am in him and he is in me. Don't ever forget that. That directly goes to a deep philosophical Rajaguhya Rajavidya Yoga called Ananya Shintayanto Mam Ye Janaha Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyam. That Yogakshemam Vahamyam part will come later, but be Ananya, not separate from that oneness, developing that oneness. How do you do it in practical terms? Such simple advice on the surface, so hard to do, as Jayashree Ben talked about, that attitudinal correction, so hard to do, but he showed it to us. The other part about his non-orthodoxy that Menaka talked about, I remember when there were the floods, our house was surrounded by water everywhere. I was thinking, that's it, house is gone, there was no insurance. Called up Swamiji. He says, don't worry about anything. Just come to Chapel Hill Ashram and stay there. I don't know what happened. I think he realized my hesitation there, because I was thinking, how can I stay at the ashram? And he goes, look, I want you, Amrita and Angad, to know, you know that bedroom downstairs where I sleep? Please, I want you to sleep in that bed. Now that was one of the hardest things to do. That's my Guru's bed. How can I sleep there? He wanted me to be so comfortable in that state and give that immense internal strength that it's okay. I'm there. Mother's there. She'll take care of you. I hope we can carry all that with us. I hope I can carry that feeling of him being with us all the time. One last thing, there are so many incidents that I can share with you, so many stories. There are stories that he told me about his monastic life, about his spiritual life, that he has promised, he has taken a promise from me that I will not share, so forgive me. Maybe someday, if he gives me permission, I'll share that with you, but not today. But there is one thing that he said to me. We were at the airport, I was dropping him off, and it's instructive to me. There were other people around. He was talking as normal as possible. You all know how he was. And once the other people left, it was just him and me sitting at the airport. It was about an hour's wait. And he goes to me, you know, Atul, in the old days, there was none of this talk between gurus and shishyas. The only thing that the guru would ask you, sadhana badi, have you deepened your devotion? Have you deepened your japa? Have you deepened your meditation? How is that going? Vikar kam hua? Has the hold of this world reduced on you? Are you observing that? Is there experience of peace and quiet, and is that lasting more? That's it. All this other fluff that we talk about is just to make ourselves comfortable, but the real relationship between a guru and a shishya is just those three things. Sadhana badi, vikar kam hua, shanta bhav bada. That's it. In him, you know, I haven't seen, I wrote to Maharaj, I wrote to Swami Sridharanandaji as well, that's Harshal Maharaj. When Swamiji passed away, I was in the middle of a wedding. And that wedding was my niece. I mean, she's 15 years younger to me, she's like a child to me, so I could not leave that wedding. I had to go through it. I felt, I got a lot of time to reflect, and I felt, even in your passing away, Maharaj, you are trying to make my grief less, but you are showing me, you're testing me with that attitudinal correction, because outwardly I have to show that I'm happy, and inwardly I was broken. So hard. But that is life, and that is a devotee's life. That is what a true spiritual speaker has to try every moment. And if you keep trying that, hopefully, maybe someday, we'll all be worthy of receiving that endless love that he showered upon all of us, all the time. With that, Maharaj, pranam.
Thank you, Atul. And with that, I'll call Ravi. Normally he doesn't like to talk, but today he will.
Revered Swamijis, Brahmacharis, respected elders, sisters and brothers, and loving children. Om Namo Narayanaya. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a few simple memories of our beloved Guru. Usha and I first encountered Swami Sridharanandaji many years ago in South Africa during one of his visits. I recall him being a guest speaker at our weekly Monday evening satsang. As we all know, Swamiji was a brilliant scholar and orator. That evening, he had us completely captivated by his talk. I honestly cannot remember the content, but I do remember the atmosphere. By the end, there was absolute silence. As he stepped away from the lectern, we instinctively began to clap. Swamiji turned, folded his hands, and with grace, and gently said something to this effect. Please don't. Let's maintain the peace and serenity that is present in this room. I was deeply moved by his divine presence and silently resolved that I must meet him again. Little did we know that life's journey would lead us to Australia, where we would have the privilege of becoming his disciples. During our time with Swamiji, we often sought his advice on important matters of life. He always had words of encouragement, support, and wisdom whenever we needed them. Although opportunities for face-to-face meetings were rare in his later years, every moment spent with him was deeply cherished. Swamiji's delight was unmistakable whenever his naughty daughter Usha surprised him with a visit. When building our home, we did our best to make it as wheelchair-friendly as possible, anticipating the joy of hosting Swamiji on many occasions. When he finally graced us with his presence and was wheeled into our hallway, we felt his divine aura permeate the entire household. Noticing the photograph of him placed on our table, he paused and with his trademark humor remarked, "And where did you find the photo of this handsome young man here?" During that same visit, Swamiji joined us in our shrine for a short prayer and graciously allowed us to wear his rosary beads, explaining that one of the beads contained a few strands of the Holy Mother's hair. Usha and I felt deeply honored and blessed to have the sacred garland placed on us. I must confess, for a moment, I thought he was gifting it to us. But my silent hope was gently dispelled when he smiled and said, "All right, now that you've enjoyed having the Holy Mother around you, please give her back to me." Swamiji's guidance has helped us achieve the successes in our life to date. I am sure that with his spirit watching over us, he will continue to be there for us. As previous speakers mentioned, his life was a living testament to the ideals of the true nature of divinity, realizing this divinity through yoga, and that serving others is to serve the divine within them. As challenging as it may be, Usha and I work towards making this the foundation of our lives. We try, in our own humble way, to reflect these ideals, seeking divinity within and serving others with love. These words are not just memories for us. They are the compass by which we aim to navigate our journey. In closing, I pray that Swamiji's message guide us all in our journey toward inner freedom and harmony. Hari Om Tat Sat.
I'd now like to invite Dr. Prasad Yarlagada to the rostrum.
Good morning and happy new year to you all. Pranam Swamiji. Revered Swami Sridharanandaji, dear devotees, friends and the spirit. Today on this most sacred occasion of Kalpataru Day, when Sri Ramakrishna is boundless grace flows freely, we gather not only to pray but also to remember a life that became a living channel of the grace of our beloved Swami Sridharanandaji Maharaj, my spiritual guru. Swami, you know the details. Swami was born in 18 December 1925 and went to Mahasamadhi on 13 December 2025, just days before completing a full century of life dedicated to God and humanity. The closeness of these dates itself feels symbolic as though his entire life was continuous offering, gently concluding at the threshold of Kalpataru. Swami was a great orator, but more importantly, his words carried truth, warmth, and conviction. When he spoke, Vedanta was no longer philosophy, it became practical, compassionate, and alive. He had the rare gift of making profound spiritual truths accessible to all. Students, professionals, seekers, and householders, number of other people got access of this Swamiji's preachings. As a great educationalist, Swamiji believed deeply in the power of values and value-based education. He reminded us that education is not merely about information but transformation, the making of a stronger character, clarity of thought, and purity of heart. Many of us are living examples of how his guidance shaped not just our intellect but our lives. In 1990, Swamiji laid the foundation of the Vedanta movement in Australia. With a quiet determination and tireless dedication, he nurtured Vedanta centers across this land. What began as a spiritual seed has today grown into a vibrant spiritual family, a testimony to his vision and selfless service. For me personally, Swamiji was not only a teacher, but my spiritual guru. Through him I learned the spirituality is not an escape from life, but a way of serving life with love, discipline, and humility. His life echoed Sri Ramakrishna's eternal message, serve Jiva as Shiva. At this occasion, I would like to quote a couple of things, my close encounters with Swami Sridharanandaji. Remember, it is a Guru Purnima day in August 2012. He is with us at our place, and we are sitting quietly in our veranda and watching the full moon. And Swamiji didn't want to do anything else except keeping quiet the 15 minutes doing meditation. Probably that is the 15 minutes of time longest in my life. I had not only associated with Swamiji, but I received clear transmission and messaging from him. That is the best thing what happened in my life. A second occasion, on one day early morning, we went to airport to drop Swamiji, and we checked in, we went to the board the flight. Suddenly we realized we left Swamiji's important medication in our Chapel Hill ashram. At the time we had ashram in Chapel Hill. We all got panicked. That is important medication, Swamiji, but he's very, very relaxed. Said, Prasad bhai, go and get it. Sir, we have only 1 hour time. Can I make it? You just go and do it. So, I could make it. I went Chapel Hill all the way, got the message, medication. But what I learned from Swamiji is, you do what you need to do. So Guru Maharaj will look after you and will make it happen. And at the end of the day, you need to wish what you want to do, but Guru Maharaj will make it happen. These are two important things I learned. There are a lot of incidents I have in my life with Swami Sridharanandaji, but these two things I would like to quote. To summarize, on this Kalpataru day, as we seek divine blessings, let us remember that Swamiji's greatest teaching was not merely spoken, it was lived. The best way to honor him is to walk the path he showed us. A life of selflessness, service, and steadfast faith in God. May Swami Sridharanandaji Maharaj's life continue to inspire us. May his blessings guide our thoughts and actions. And may we strive to become instruments of the same grace that flowed through him. Om Shanti.
Next, we hear from someone we often hear sing but not talk. So, Dr. Deepti.
Respected Swamijis and Brahmachari, elders, friends, and children, Namaskar. We are here today to celebrate a very auspicious day, Kalpataru Day. And Dr. Asim Mujumdar has already elaborately described its important significance and relation to our life. We are also here to pay our gratitude, our respect to our beloved Swami Sridharanandaji Maharaj, as we know that he left his body recently on 13th of December. So first I met Swami Sridharanandaji Maharaj about 15 or 16 years ago, and 6 years later he became my Diksha Guru. To me, Swamiji is so vast, so deep and knowledgeable. He was a great mentor, philosopher, spiritual master, and visionary. I believe he was a great leader too, because if we look back his action, his achievements over the few years, we can see his role in leadership. I would like to share with you a couple of experiences with Maharaj, Swamiji. So one day, I told him, Swamiji, I see your face when I do my japa or meditation or prayer. So I see your face instead of Sri Ramakrishna. So I try to change, but your face reappears. So what should I do? What's my fault? And then he laughed. Then he said, he replied, I know it's very difficult to hold Sri Ramakrishna. He comes and goes, and he loves to play hide and seek. So, and then he said, it's not your fault. Anyway, if you see me during your japa, see me not as your guru, see me as the mother of Sri Ma Sharoda. So he solved my problem very quickly. Swamiji's vision was to serve the people and help the needy people that way. One day he told me, when a male patient is walking through the corridors and enters into your room, you see him as a form of Sri Ramakrishna and treat him as you are treating Sri Ramakrishna. Same as a female patient. When a female patient comes to you, treat her as you are treating Ma Sharoda. So I try to follow his advice. Over the period of time, I have noticed that Swamiji was greatly influenced by Rabindranath Tagore's philosophy. So he used to recite Tagore's poems, songs, etc. So one day he wanted me to sing a particular Tagore song. Unfortunately, I couldn't sing that song because I forgot that song and I couldn't remember the lyrics. Then he told me that, okay, so let's practice this song and one day you will sing to me. So we have met several times afterwards, but it didn't happen. So I just want to sing just one line of that particular song. It's for him. I know he's not here physically, but I believe he will hear it, that he wanted to listen a long time ago. It's just one line. And through this one line of song, I just express the humble gratitude, my respect and pranam to Swamiji. Tabu daya, tabu daya, tabu daya diye habe go mor জীবন ধুতে নইলে কি আর পারব তোমার চরণ ছুতে দয়া তবু দয়া তবু দয়া দিয়ে হবে গো মোর জীবন ধুতে নমস্কার।
now invite Dr. Ashim Majumdar to talk on Swamiji.
Thank you. You have heard a lot about Swamiji, various aspects of his character and his devotion, his working capacity, as well as his intellectual ability. Today we pay homage to the great Swami Sridharanandaji, who left his mortal body on the 13th December 2025. Swami Sridharanandaji was an intellectual giant in my eyes, a divine spiritual Swami, a visionary. His departure is a significant loss to the humanity. I remember his visit to our home in 1998 with Maha. I think after other Swamis left, I think Maha came with Swami Sridharananda. And after his migration to Australia in 2000, we had the great honor of having him at our house, conducting retreats and spiritual talks on many occasions until this ashram was built. I always felt his presence was divine with spiritual vibration at home. Swamiji talked about his experience with various disciples of Ramakrishna, Sri Sharada Devi, and also scriptures. He fulfilled the ideas of Swami Vivekananda, that is, man-making, character building. Incidentally, I had the same experience as Robbie. I think almost most of you had that he had this necklace of Srima's part in it. And in our house, he gave it to me and was thrilled. I thought, what a wonderful position. Maybe he understood that after a while. He said, Ashim, you can put it on as long as you like, but later give it back to me. So I had to. And so that was the way he was. So at nearly 100 years of age, he was tirelessly working to establish a Vedanta University in Australia to promote holistic education and spiritual growth. He also played a key role in the formation or in the formal affiliation of the Australia-New Zealand Vedanta Centre with the worldwide Ramakrishna mission. He was known for his spiritual guidance, and he was vigilant about the spiritual practices of those under his care. His lectures and teachings have been preserved in various formats, including online videos and publications. I'll say a bit later about that. His teachings continue to be available in various resources, including Centre of Sydney's official website and YouTube channels. He strongly believed that we are the children of divine. It is our true original nature of our Atman, which is Sat Sarup, Chit Sarup, and Ananda Sarup. He followed the vision of Swami Ramakrishna, that is, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. All his life, he has been involved with work of the establishment of Vedanta Centre, hospital in Lucknow, and here in Australia and New Zealand, number of centres, as you know, in Brisbane, Sydney, Perth, Canberra, Melbourne, as well as in New Zealand. He did not stop there, but he continued to work till his last day to establish Vivekananda University in Sydney and possible in other states. He was quite strong and fearless. We all have seen how strong and fearless person he was. He took many bold decisions for the growth and spread of Vedanta, and he was quite positive in his thinking. He was always positive, and he used to say, it is this Thakur's work, the Thakur will make it happen, and it did happen. Swamiji could have been a brilliant mechanical engineer, but he chose to work for the Trinity, see the divine in all. This was his mantra, treated everyone as a child of the divine. May I repeat the contribution that Swamiji made to the Vedanta Centre. He spread Vedanta in Australia, and he was instrumental in establishing centres at various places. His spiritual teachings, known for his profound lectures in Bhagavad Gita and Upanishad, and emphasized the concept of manifesting the divinity within every individual. Even late in life, he actively worked towards establishing the university in Australia to promote holistic and valued-based education. I think it is running. He was strong advocate for Ajapa Japam, that is synchronizing mantras with breathing, and practical spiritual discipline, which he taught at numerous retreats, classes, and across Australia, North America, and Europe. May the soul of the divine Swami attain moksha. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hashim. So according to my program sheet, after this I should hand the mic over to the Swamis, but let them wait. I want a little bit of time for myself. So I thought it was apt that on Kalpataru Day, we also remember Swami Sridharananda. As Dr. Hashim and a few of you have mentioned, Swamiji together with Swami Atmeshananda came to Australia in the year 2000. Now that doesn't mean that the Vedanta movement started in 2000. The Vedanta movement was started by small families in small groups across Australia in various places. But come Kalpataru Day or even any other day, I am sure that a small part of them would have wished that we had a permanent Swami here in Australia. That would have been their Kalpataru wish. And so in 2000, that wish came true. The Kalpataru fulfilled the wish of many individuals, many small groups of people who were running these little committees and little gatherings in their own homes to sing bhajans. And the one that I went to, they will pull out the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and read a verse or two. I'm sure that happened everywhere, all over. So, when Swami Sridharananda and Swami Atmeshananda comes here, they pretty much single-handedly gathered all these groups together, gave them a single pointed direction and said, all right, let's organize this bunch of cowboys. Let's create the Ramakrishna mission here in Australia. Now let's put this in a little bit of context. Swami Sridharananda and his very young right-hand man, when they came in 2000, Swami Sridharananda's body was 75 years old. He would be 100 this year, and Christmas just passed, or just before Christmas. So he was 75 years old in 2000. And you can ask my wife, I wake up every week at the age of 62 and say, I've had enough. I want to quit, I want to retire. This is too much, too hard. But this person at the age of 75 comes to the shores that's full of poisonous snakes, spiders, scorpions, more kangaroos than men, and said, let's get started. That's the zeal of a pioneer. And he said this to me several times himself. This is pioneering work. It's not my work. This is a quoting from him. This is not my work. This is Mother's work. But he's chosen us, all of us, to be the instruments of doing that work as pioneers. And the other thing he constantly told me in many of my interactions is, don't forget, being a pioneer is hard. The rest will follow through. They will have something to grasp. But for the roots to form is difficult. So much had to change. Everything I say here about Swami Sridharananda is a joint statement from my whole family, my wife and my 2 kids. Again, when we go back to the year 2000, when Swami Sridharananda and Swami Atmeshananda turned up on our shores, in a speech by Swami Sridharanandaji right here, he said this. The 2 Swamis came here with nothing more than a small bag of clothes and probably some photographs of the Trinity. That's it. And a little bit of money just to buy some coffee and tea. Those are Swami Sridharanandaji's words, not mine. So you think about it. A pair of men with a small bag of clothes and few photographs and a little bit of money to buy coffee and tea comes here, and 25 years later, this is what you see. Centers in almost every capital city of Australia, bar Darwin and Tasmania. And centers, they are not just little homes, but very established temples and places where people can come to worship, to gather the knowledge, and then to feel a part of a larger community that can serve man in other men. I and my family met Swamiji much earlier, I think in 2002, but I met Swamiji at the tail end of the year 2006 in Perth. At that time, there was a home that was donated by Uncle Maha's brother, Uncle Amrita Lincoln. Their family home was donated to the Ramakrishna mission, and that was going to be the place where we all gathered every week. So he turned up. I'd never met the person before. He turns up, and then he says, "Oh, you are Uni?" I said, "Yeah." That was our first interaction. Not hello, welcome, nothing. "Oh, you are Uni?" "Yeah." Next thing he says, "Come, let's start work." And that was pretty much the motto of Swamiji. Get the work done. So we converted this house into a purpose-built area that would then serve as the home for prayers, meetings, and as well as the home of another Swami, another senior Swami, Swami Damodarananda. And then it became our job to look after Swami Damodarananda. Then from the family home, we moved to a church that we purchased, that was auctioned off and we purchased. And I was at the auction, and we clearly went over the budget. And I still remember Swami Atmeshananda making the first phone call to Swami Sridharananda. He didn't know that, but I could hear what was going on. And the only thing Swami Sridharananda said, "Don't talk to me about the price, tell me if you got it." And we got it. What comes after that, he will sort out, and he will sort out with the powers that be. And he was that kind of a guy. He wanted to make things happen, and he made it happen. But having that church was the beginning for me to spend a lot of time with him. Because he was the master, and he was the designer, and I was his tradie. So he would come and he'll start pointing, do this, do that, do that, do this. And I'd run out and get the woods and get the timber, get the screws and make things happen. But what came out of it was a very intense and close relationship. Not so much of a guru and his disciple, but more of a friend. A friend who, along the way, kept talking about other swamis and teachings and everything, but more of a friend. And he had no problem with that relationship. I had, but he didn't. Was a bit unnerving, but that's the way it was. But after we opened that church, and made it the Ramakrishna Centre there, Swami Damodarananda had left by then. He used to come back, and now we're talking about a person who's approaching 80. He will come back for 3 days every month to Perth. So he was based in Sydney. He'll fly across for 6 hours, come and spend 3 days in Perth every single month. Do talks on Bhagavad Gita and everything. And then fly back on a Saturday afternoon after a Saturday morning talk so that he could then have another session with Sydney on Sunday morning. So literally he would leave Sydney on a Wednesday afternoon, reach us on Wednesday night, do 3 days of talks on Thursday, Friday and Saturday, fly back and do another talk on Sunday. At 75, I just want to sleep. Yes. So that's where I'm coming to. And after that, he'll go to Canberra. And then after that, you also have to consider, he had all these centers running off temporary homes and all, and he had to build those centers. So you think about this. Perth on the other side of the continent, Adelaide, Canberra he drives, Melbourne he'll fly. Then we seem to forget he was in charge of New Zealand as well at that time. So he would go to New Zealand. I was just talking to Swamiji this morning. It wasn't just flying that he enjoyed. Every month once, I think, he'll take a boat ride across the Sydney harbour to go to Manly to do another talk. And he enjoyed those as well. I know because he kept telling me about it. Almost to the point where I thought he was going every week, but apparently not. But he didn't travel for his joy. He traveled because it had to be done. He always talked about what Swamiji would expound. Work is worship. But you probably wouldn't find another example better than him in terms of work is worship. This is a person who's done so much in India, comes here and then starts again from the bottom up and then get things done, but through pure sheer sweat and grit. The person I met, because I spent a lot of personal time with him, was actually very human in a lot of ways. He was fun-loving. He never gave up an opportunity to poke fun at me or make fun of me. Even recently when I saw him, the first thing he said, "My God, you're bald." And then when he blessed me on my head, he said, "Your head is so nice and smooth." So that's the kind of person he was, a very fun-loving, genuine person. He meant no harm. When he was with me in Perth, one day of that trip was for him to spend time with me. But basically he wanted to talk about where he wanted the organization to go in Perth. But he didn't want to do it at the ashram. He'd say, "Come Munni, take me out. And we'll go to, where do you want to go?" "Yes, take me to a shopping center." We'll go to a shopping center and we'll just walk. We didn't buy anything. Other than the one time I remember he took me to Kathmandu and said, "I want to buy you some socks." He bought himself some socks as well, so it was not so bad. But all those days of interaction was lunches at Subways. And then he had this fondness for double fried French fries. So I still remember it was Thursday nights, I think, or Thursday nights or Friday nights, I can't remember. There was a manager at a nearby Nando's who was also Indian, and he came in to hear one or two of Swamiji's talks. So one day we were talking and said, oh, my restaurant is nearby, I run a Nando's. So we went there one day. And then he knew Swamiji wanted double fried fries. So the moment we appeared in the doorway, he will go and prepare it. By the time we sit down, we'll have it double fried French fries. Why? Because he wanted to hear them crunch in his mouth. At a personal level, it was always, hello Uni, then how's my daughter? He's referring to my wife. Then how's my children? Referring to my kids. He was a very inclusive person. It was not about you and me. He says, this is all my people, my family. But as a person who wanted to get work done, he was very determined. He was very clear about what he wanted to achieve. And he always knew what the steps were to get there. He never jumped to step 5 before he talked about step 2. And pretty much that vision of his you can see at the Sydney ashram, where it's gone from what it is many years ago. Then he built a little shrine inside. Then he had this extension that became a shrine. Then the shrine went to another building. It was always step by step. But he had that final vision. He knew what that final building should look like. Once I moved to Brisbane in 2012, I never had much interactions with him, other than the few 5-10 minutes, because you realize that he doesn't belong to you. He's not my Swami or my Guru. He is the Swami and Guru to the whole community, the whole lot of people who wanted to follow this movement. So even if we got just 5 minutes or 10 minutes with him, that's 10 minutes too long for him, 10 minutes too short for me. Personally, I don't think Swamiji finished his work, because in his final messages to me, he kept telling me there's more to be done, there's more to achieve. And then I go back to that original things that he used to say to me. We are the pioneers. And as pioneers, we've got lots more to do to get it to the end point, whatever that end point is. I mean, we got to remember that Swamiji was literally born 100 years ago, not a figure of speech. He's been through a lot. He's seen World War II. He's seen the Indian separation. He's seen poverty in India. He worked with the British when the British were very, very unkind to the Indians. And these were all stories that he told me while we were out shopping, buying nothing. We'll suddenly sit down somewhere and he'll just talk. And he'll tell me all these stories from his early days. But even then, I think he knew where he would end up. He knew. And he may not have known that it was going to be Australia, but once here, he had that clarity of purpose, and he kept that clarity of purpose going. And to that end, to all of us, the passing of Swami Sridharananda may not actually be the end, but the beginnings of something new. People come, people go. In his own words, he need to poof off at some time. But he hopes he has sown the seeds that the rest of us can pick up and run with it or grow with it. With Swamiji's passing, I'm reminded of something that happened with Sri Ramakrishna and Mother. She was feeling the great loss, and she was crying a lot. And in a moment of silence, Sri Ramakrishna appears to her and says, "Why are you crying? I've not gone anywhere, I'm just in the room next door. What's your problem?" So that's what I'm thinking. That's where I get my solace from, and that's where I would go to when I think of a person who's done so much, both for me, my family, and the organization and community, and is now no more with us. That's where I think we all have to be. He is still with us, just not physically. So if this was a Western gathering, I would be asking all of you to stand up, hold up a glass, and giving a toast to a person who's done so much in 100 years. In India, in Australia, not to mention his frequent visits to the US. I think he would spend nearly 2 months a year in the US. Yeah. And even in the US, not just in one place, he'd just keep touring and touring. So I would ask all of you to stand up and hold up a glass and give a toast to him. But we are not at that sort of a gathering. So before I hand over the mic to Swami Mahabodhananda, I'd like to request everyone to just take a moment, close your eyes, and say Jai Ma in his name and his honor. Thank you. Now I'll invite Swami Mahabodhananda to speak.
Thank you, Uni. My pranams to the revered Swamijis, my best wishes to the Brahmachari and all the others who have gathered here. Much of what I like to have said, Uni has covered in his talk, so I hope this does not seem to be repetitious. But to reminisce about revered Sridharanandaji is very difficult, because for approximately 10 years, between February 2016 and June 2025, I was living close to him. Unfortunately, I didn't have the habit of keeping a diary or a journal. Over these 10 years, I would see him almost every day. While seeing him, I would sometimes interact with him. I used to ask him questions, mostly from the scriptures, and he would patiently hear me out and reply. Some of these questions were very tricky, and he would take great pains to answer me. After answering, he would ask, "Am I clearly understood?" I'm sure you have also heard that phrase before, but it was something that he repeated. Sometimes Swami Danyananda Herschel or Kirikaka would also be present. At other times, he would advise me on certain things, but he rarely let me serve him. That was the area of Swami Danyananda, Kirikaka, and most recently the Brahmacharins. He also did not like me making pranams to his feet. He would just hold my hand and shake my hands. First meetings with Swami Sridharanandaji. My first meeting with revered Sridharanandaji was in Sydney, Australia, on the 31st of August, 1997. I remember the date because on that very day, Princess Diana was in a car accident and died, and that date is available on the internet. The first meeting was at a parlor talk on the Bhagavad Gita in a devotee's home. I don't remember the devotee's name or the suburb in which the talk was. My second meeting with Sri Ramakrishna was at the house of the Ramakrishnans. To those of you who have not heard about the Ramakrishnans, they were based in Sydney, and they started the Vedanta Centre of Sydney in the 80s. And most of the Swamis who traveled to Sydney stayed at their residence. They were responsible for bringing Swamis to Sydney from India. Swami Damodaranandaji also used to invite Swamis, and Swami Sridharananda, when he came in 1997, may have come on the invitation of Swami Damodarananda for a function in Fiji, but I'm not sure. I don't remember the topic on which Sridharanandaji spoke at the Ramakrishnans, but after the talk, there was a question and answer session in which Sridharanandaji was asked about his guru, Swami Virajanandaji, the 6th president of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission. His reply to the question was, Swami Virajananda was a sublime being, and I am a wretch. On both these occasions, I did not personally meet Sridharanandaji. I just listened to the lectures and left. Subsequent meetings with Sridharanandaji in India and Australia. My subsequent meetings with Sridharanandaji were in India and Australia. He came to India while I was at the Probationers Training Centre between 2003 and 2005. On this trip to Belur Mutt, Sridharanandaji stayed at the old training centre. This time I got a chance to meet and interact with him. Then later, in 2007, I think, while I was at the Institute of Culture, Gol Park, I attended a lecture by Sridharanandaji at the Advaita Ashrama in Entelli, Kolkata. At this time, revered Bodhasaranandaji was the manager of the Advaita Ashrama. I don't remember if Mumukshanandaji was there at that time, but Bodhasaranandaji was there. At the Advaita Ashrama, Swami Sridharanandaji spoke on Sri Ramakrishna. On this occasion also, I was able to interact with him. One thing I remember thinking at this time was how Sridharanandaji was able to interact so closely with the devotees at one moment, just before his talk, and deliver an impromptu lecture at the next moment. My next meeting with Sridharanandaji was in early 2009, after I had sannyasa diksha, or initiation into monastic life. I came to Australia to get a new visa. I was then in Sydney for 3 or 4 months. Over that period, the Sydney ashrama had already been shifted to Ermington, and the inmates were revered Damodaranandaji, Sridharanandaji, Atmeshanandaji, Chandrasekharanandaji, Kirikaka, Nithumashi, and Leela. Bhagavad Gita classes by Swami Sridharanandaji were being held at the Strathfield Bowling Club on Sunday mornings, and the Patanjali Yoga Sutra classes were being held at the Ashfield Ashrama, I think on Wednesdays. We used to attend and drive to these classes and revered Sridharanandaji with Swami Sridharanandaji. The Ermington ashram was very vibrant and joyous on those occasions. on that occasion. I got to spend time with Sri Ramakrishna, Damodaranandaji and others. My next meeting with Sri Ramakrishna was in 2011. I accompanied Swami Prabhanandaji, who was the General Secretary of the Ramakrishna Mission at that time, to visit most of the cities in Australia. We also went to Auckland in New Zealand. Swami Chandrasekharanandaji came with us to New Zealand. We also went to Perth. Swami Atmeshanandaji came with Swami Prabhanandaji and myself to Perth. We stayed with the Basumalliks. The church had already been purchased at that time. We also traveled to Melbourne when the ashrama was at the Judicote address. There were no monastics staying at the Judicote ashrama at that time. Swami Prabhanandaji and myself stayed at the Judicote ashrama. We also traveled to Brisbane when the ashrama was at Chapel Hill. There we attended a meeting with Uncle Maha Sinnathambi and Swami Sridharanandaji, Prabhanandaji and others for what he had planned for the Springfield ashrama. This was a very rushed trip and I wasn't able to spend a lot of time with Swami Sridharanandaji. I met Revered Sridharanandaji again in 2015. I had come to Sydney again to get a new visa. By this time, Revered Atmeshanandaji was at Brisbane and Chandrasekharanandaji was in Melbourne. Danyananda Herschel was at the Probationers Training Centre. The Swamis in Sydney were Revered Sridharanandaji, Sunishtanandaji and Manyanandaji. On this trip, I remember asking Sridharanandaji a question. I asked him what his main form of sadhana was. He replied that it was Karma Yoga. Those of you who have heard Revered Sridharanandaji's Bhagavad Gita classes would have understood this already, because he always stressed Karma Yoga in spite of what the particular sloka was about. In his interpretation and commentary on the slokas, he always stressed Karma Yoga. But I, at that time, had not heard many of Maharaj's lectures. That's why I asked him this question. My posting to Sydney was in late 2015, and I arrived in Sydney in February 2016. Over these last 9 years, I have seen how Revered Sridharanandaji practiced Karma Yoga and served the Ramakrishna mission while he was in his 90s, despite having certain medical and health conditions. To those of you who do not know, he had a frozen shoulder, arthritis in the knees, heart fibrillation, which is a irregular heartbeat. His movements were restricted because of these. He needed constant help. Even to get up from a chair, he needed help. Swami Danyananda Herschel, Kirikaka, and the brahmacharis used to assist with all this. I am highlighting his medical condition because in spite of these, he served the organization and practiced Karma Yoga like a true soldier of Swami Vivekananda. With these few words, I come to an end. I end by offering my pranams to Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swami Vivekananda, and Swami Sridharananda, who was like a Upaguru to me. Thank you.
Now I invite Swami Bhadreshananda to speak some words.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. My respectful pranams to Revered Swami Atmeshanji Maharaj, dear brother monks, brahmacharis, devotees, namaste to all of you. Happy 2026, Jai Bhagwan, and happy Kalpataru. So as we heard from Jayapati, I call him our MC, master of the ceremony. Yeah. So yes, last night he took us to see the fireworks and also chill with ice cream. Thank you. So it was a nice experience. And we see Swami Sridharanandaji never missed an opportunity to also have these light moments. He was so full of humor, bubbling with joy, and sweet. Anyone who came in contact with him was just mesmerized. He would hold you spellbound. That's what happened to us also, to me also. I've been seeing him coming from Lucknow. That time we used to call him Lucknow Swamiji. And Lucknow is the place of Nawabs. He was also like a Nawab. He was such a, great connoisseur. He knew how every dish should be, what should be the fine taste. Wasn't a food critic, but definitely a great connoisseur. His artistic views, you see, that's one of the signs of spirituality. Spirituality starts only when you come to that level of fineness. Abraham Maslow's triangle, of hierarchy. Food, clothing, shelter. Then comes culture and aesthetics. Aesthetics is something that you'll find Sri Ramakrishna had. Holy Mother, Swamiji, all of them that had that highest sense of aesthetics. And Swami Sridharanandaji, you can make out from whatever he has done, it was a class. Everything classic. So just now we heard Swami Mahabodhanandaji saying that Swamiji himself said that he was a karma yogi more. But for me, I never saw him only with karma yoga as a great karma yogi. He was a great jnana yogi, he was a great bhakti yogi, and also a great raja yogi. He was a great yogi because you see the karma that he has done, we all know. At Lucknow, the polyclinic, which was one of the best hospitals in northern India, in Uttar Pradesh. So many are being benefited from that. And then you see the way he worked, we've all heard about it. And Bhakti Yoga, if you see, the temple that is built for Sri Ramakrishna. Without that deep devotion, one cannot be dedicated to the master the way he was. The temple is so artistic, with every minute details taken care of. And you see what a foresight, visionary he was. There was, where were the funds for the temple? But he had such a great, like our Maha, you see how he has built this spring city. So Swamiji, you see, they are all great visionaries. Swamiji was a great visionary. He bought 2 mines, marble mines in Rajasthan. From there, the marble would come for the temple, and the remaining marble he sold from where he got all the finances for the temple. What a vision. Here when he came, he was eating only puff fries and tea. He didn't have food to eat enough. When he had come to Bombay, I met him when he came to Bombay. Of course, at Lucknow, I was there at the temple inauguration, the consecration of the temple at Lucknow. He was so full of joy And all of us, he greeted with so much, like holding our hand. Oh, I'm so happy you have come, you have made it. And that experience was amazing. The ashrama was at a different location. From the old premises, it was shifted to the new place. They built the whole thing right from scrap, as he has done here. So that was his metal. And that was his dedication to the master. Sri Ramakrishna, for him, he built that beautiful temple. And Raja Yogi, as we have heard also, that he used to do ajapa japa. His mantra, he would chant along with his breath. So every breath was a repetition of the mantra. And his meditation, the deep meditation that he had from this ajapa japa, that's something very, very remarkable. Only yogis have that. And he has served so many great souls. Swami Virajanji Sevak, he was, and Swami Virajanji was not a very soft person. He was a hard taskmaster. It was very difficult to satisfy him. Everything had to be perfect. And that's what even Swami Sridharanandaji imbibed. He was also a perfectionist. It was, we have seen Swami, we all were hearing Swami Atmeshanji was assisting him, but it is not an easy job. In fact, it's something very, very, very tough to work with him because he has that high expectations. And I know Swami Atmeshanji, when he was a brahmachari at Mumbai, I was a volunteer there. He was so full of energy and so young. I had that image. But when I came here, I saw him. My God, this really got dilapidated completely. So that was his commitment to the boss, to the head. See, this is what we are taught in the order, that be obedient. So Swami Sridharanandaji, when you heard that, yeah, he came to Australia, but he chose to come here. He chose you to be with you. He was offered, when he was told from Lucknow that now we have done a lot of work here, we want to do something more. The headquarters told him, and he said, yeah, fine. He was offered Germany and Australia. Then he said, if I go to Germany, I won't be able to start the work right away. I'll have to learn the language. But I'll go to Australia. And to Australia, he became the channel of grace that Sri Ramakrishna has bestowed on all of you here. Swami Damodaran used to come from Fiji. But Fiji was the first center in Oceania. And this big, huge continent needed someone very strong, dynamic, powerful. And Sri Ramakrishna selected him, made him his channel. And all of you are the ripples and waves and the eddies in this. Maha, in his book, Stop Not Till the Goal is Reached, I was reading that. He has taken the name Eddie. When he came to Australia, he found that the name is very important. You need to have some Western name. He's really an eddy current in this channel. So you see how things unfolded with Swamiji's coming here. Everything started falling in place. Centers came up. That was his power. That was the power of Sri Ramakrishna. As Swami Mahabodhan said, we are all soldiers of Swami Vivekananda. But some are, the bombers. The jet bombers, some are the bombers, some are the pilots. So like that, he was like that. So dynamic, so powerful. A yogi, a Raja Yogi, a Karma Yogi, a Bhakta Yogi, and a Jnana Yogi. We all have seen these aspects, and that is the model of ideal of Sri Ramakrishna. If we see the emblem of the Ramakrishna mission, we have the swan, the Paramatma. And to get the vision of that, what we need is the Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Raj Yoga. And Swami Sridharanandaji was full. He had everything to the utmost of it. Swami Vivekananda had said that if you want to know what this Vivekananda has done, then there has to be another Vivekananda. Similarly, if you really someone wants to know what Reverend Swami Sridharanandaji has done, another Swami Sridharanandaji alone will be able to understand that. But we can say that we all are very fortunate to have had him here, sacrifice his life for our sake. Sri Ramakrishna came for that. He said, I have not come to have rasgullas. He said that Swami Vivekananda wanted to really be merged in meditation and enjoy that bliss of meditation. Sri Ramakrishna said, nothing doing. That's mean-mindedness. You see, the people are suffering. You have to do mother's work. And what was mother's work? To spread this Vedantic knowledge, to spread that knowledge of the divinity of the soul, to let each individual know that he is divine. And that was the mother's work, and that was what Swami Vivekananda had to do. Sri Ramakrishna did not allow him to sit quietly. He made him go through Europe, US, everywhere, with nothing, no support. That is our role model. And Swami Sridharanandaji literally followed that. He literally, to the letter, he followed that. He himself was a model, the ideal, what Swami Vivekananda had set for himself. Completely, you just imagine, even when he came to Bombay, he had to give a talk in the evening. It was around 5:30 before the Aarti, his talk was scheduled. And he didn't come for breakfast. I went and called him, Maharaj, you have not come for breakfast? He's saying, Na re, ami kichu khai na class takle. In Bengali, he used to say, no, you see, no, my dear, I don't take anything before I deliver my class, my lectures. So I said, but Maharaj, that's in the evening. It's at 5:30. You have got the whole day. But he didn't agree. He didn't take anything even for breakfast, nor lunch, nor in the afternoon. After his lecture, he came back. I was a little worked up because he needs to be fed something, given something to drink and all, tea. And people are there, just after him. So we had to literally tell them, please wait, let Maharaj have some tea after. So that was him. Just imagine staying hungry just because he has to be focused and completely poured his heart out in his talks. So that was the personality. Yeah. Yeah, sure, please.
I asked him this question about how he prepared for lectures. He would not answer. For years he did not answer. Only towards the end he told me. And this is why he probably didn't meet.
Yeah.
He said, when I go to the altar, I surrender myself to mother. She takes over.
Very true. So he wanted to be completely immersed in those thoughts and completely dedicated to the Divine Mother, to Sri Ma. So everything was Ma, and every work that he did was for Sri Ramakrishna. So today, as Unni has said, that Kalpataru's gift to Australia, it's really Swamiji who came here and dedicated himself to this continent, to you all. So we must have a feeling of blessedness, a feeling of being so fortunate that we have had this opportunity to see such a great soul. See, we may not have become so great, but at least we have seen a role model. We have a role model. The Guru is the role model. So those of you who feel that you have become orphan because you have lost the Guru, you shouldn't feel that way, because he is there in your heart. When you meditate on the Guru, and then you merge the Guru in the Ishta. So the Guru and the Ishta is not different. So it's Sri Ramakrishna's channel of grace that he was, which Sri Ramakrishna sent all the way from India here, so that all of you could dive in that and make your lives blessed. So that was, this is an amazing thing to see. In 25 years, at the age of 75, he came here, and how he has worked day in and out, worked hard for yourself, for your sake. So feel blessed. Let us all rejoice and enjoy those memories and enshrine him in our hearts and be dedicated, be the mission to his vision. He was a visionary. He had many things that he had envisioned. Let us all commit ourselves and become the mission for his vision. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Ma Jai Ma Jai Ma. Namaste.
Yeah, I know a lot of you are hungry, so I'll make this short and hand it over to Swami Atmeshananda. Just a quick couple of announcements. When you're going down, please go out, get your footwear and go down. That makes it more comfortable for you to leave the ashram after everything. And one last announcement is we are taking donations both for the Friday soup kitchens as well as for the ashram in general. The donation table is at the back of this hall. Please, if you feel like it, please contribute something, and we take cards and cash and everything else. So on that note, one more time, Happy New Year. Swami Atmeshananda will take over.
Thanks, Sunni. I don't think I will take too much of time as everyone has mentioned. I had the privilege of working with Swami Sridharanandaji for 25 years, and before that my association with him is for about 47.5 years. I still remember 23rd of July 1978 when I first met him, and then he sort of mesmerized me, you can say. Many a times I was asked to be his assistant in Lucknow, but something or other stopped me from going there. And then when I was in Singapore, he asked me, "Look, I am already old. Would you not come and help me in doing the work in Australia?" In fact, by that time I had decided to go back to India and serve India, but I could not say no to him because he was so loving towards me. From 1978 onwards, when I was just a novice of a few months old. As everyone has mentioned, he was a perfectionist to the core. When I was in Bangalore, he used to come and he used to get artwork done for the temple. And how many times he got it done but rejected them. It used to be a bit of a pain for me also to ask those artists to do the works again, but he always wanted perfection in whatever was to be done. And then when I was his assistant, it was, I should confess that it was a daunting task for me to be a perfectionist like him. I can never match him in that. In that house in Redmire Road in Sydney, which we had rented when the ashram was first started, sometimes I would see him take the broom and sweep the shrine himself, and I would shudder at it because he had a frozen shoulder and he had a bad back. But he would just do it when I was not looking, and then I would snatch it from him, and then I would do the cleaning and other things. And I should mention it, but some people might find it, not those who are here, but those in Sydney might find it a little bit difficult to swallow. When that house was rented, a devotee gave an used bed for him to sleep, and it was a very small bed. It was hardly 6 feet long, and he was over 6 feet, I believe, 6 feet 1 or something like that, and he was heavy built person. And that bed, he would just squeeze himself into the bed. When I came in, I told him, "Maharaj, immediately I need to change this bed." He said, no, the sentiments of the devotees would be hurt. I do not want to change this bed. Anyway, after that, we bought a house in Ashfield suburb in Sydney, and then when he had gone to Melbourne, I just bought a king bed, and then when he came, he was very angry with me. He said, "What have you done? Where is my bed?" I said, "Maharaj, this is a better one." And then, of course, after a day or so, he told one of our devotees, Prakash Bhai, he said, "I could sleep comfortably in this bed after so many months." So that was Swami Sridharananda, would deny everything for himself. In fact, I still remember when I first went, I could cook a little bit, not much. So he had to endure my cooking, and and sometimes there would only be some muri, that is puffed rice, and that would be his lunch, because in evening he would have his classes and he would only have some puffed rice, as Swami Bhadreshananji also pointed out. He would just have a little bit of it and in the evening have it. Anyway, so it is a long journey for me to have been with Swami Sridharanandaji. In fact, when the design for this building was to be made, I had some other design, but he insisted that we should have this central hall and the rooms, etc., will be like a cross, It should be like that. That was his wish. And Sridharan, Rasaya Sridharan, he drew the first design, and then Dr. Mahasinathambi got one of the architects to do the work here. So there are lots and lots of memories. I would not be able to do justice to my memories if I start talking about it. But on this occasion, we would like to pay homage to the memory of our most beloved and respected Swami Sridharanandaji. On this Kalpataru day, I wish you all a wonderful year ahead, and may Sri Ramakrishna's Holy Mothers and Swami Vivekananda's blessings be upon all of us, is my humble prayer. I would also like to thank Uni and all the speakers for having shared their memories today. And revered Swami Bhadreshanandaji, he came from Fiji, is the head of our Ramakrishna mission in Fiji. He came just to participate in the funeral of Swami Sridharanandaji. His flight was it came a little later, soon after the funeral he arrived, but he was there for the memorial in Sydney, and I am very grateful that he was able to come here and also perform the puja and also talk about Swami Sridharanandaji. To all of you, Namaste, and may Sri Ramakrishna's blessings be upon us, all of us. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I would request Swami Bhadreshanandaji to do the arati as we sing Namo Namo Prabhu Vakyamanatita. You may please be seated.
नमो नमो प्रभु वाक्य मनातीत नमो नमो प्रभु नातीत मनोवचनैकाधार प्रभु मनोवचनैकाधार ज्योतिरज्योति उज्ज्वल हृदि कंदर ज्योतिर्ज्योति उज्ज्वल हृदि कंदर तुमि तमो भंजन हार प्रभु तुमि तमो भंजन हार नमो नमो प्रभु वाक्य मनातीत नमो नमो प्रभु वाक्य मनातीत मनोवचनैकाधार प्रभु मनोवचनैकाधार ज्योतिरज्योति उज्ज्वल हृदि कंदर ज्योतिरज्योति ज्वल हृदि कंदर तुमि तमो भंजनहार प्रभु तुमि तमो भंजनहार धे 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 लंग रंग भंग बाजे अंग संग मृदंग धे 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 लंग रंग भंग बाजे अंग संग मृदंग गायचे छंद भक्त वृंद आरती तोमा गायचे छंद भक्त वृंद आरती तोमार जय जय आरती तोमार हर हर आरती तोमार शिव शिव आरती तोमार खंडन भव बंधन जगवंदन वंदितो माय जय श्री गुरु महाराज जी की जय। Our next program will be on the 10th of January. It is Swami Vivekananda's birthday. We will have puja in the morning from 9 o'clock till 9:30 rather, 9:30 to 11 o'clock with a talk and some bhajans and prasad. Please register yourself online so that we can know how many of you are coming to be able to cater food